As 2025 draws to a close, Jin has emerged as one of the most talked about names in the global music industry, thanks to his remarkable presence on Billboard's prestigious year-end charts. Once known primarily as the eldest member of BTS, Jin has now firmly established himself as a powerful solo artist whose influence extends far beyond the K-pop sphere. Throughout 2025, Jin demonstrated a level of consistency and musical maturity that translated into tangible chart success. His name appeared across multiple Billboard year-end rankings, including global and artist-focused charts, an achievement that only a small number of solo K-pop artists have managed to accomplish. What makes this milestone particularly notable is that year-end charts are not based on short-term hype, but on sustained performance over an entire year, reflecting both strong fan support and widespread public interest. Industry observers have pointed to Jin's solo releases in 2025 as a key factor behind this success. His music showcased a refined emotional depth, blending heartfelt storytelling with polished production. Rather than chasing trends, Jin leaned into authenticity, allowing listeners from different cultures and backgrounds to connect with his work on a personal level. This approach helped his songs gain traction across international streaming platforms, ultimately contributing to their strong standing on Billboard's global rankings. Another aspect that drew attention was Jin's position on the Billboard Artist Year-End chart. Ranking alongside and in some cases above other prominent K-pop soloists, Jin proved that his solo identity is no longer viewed as an extension of his group activities, but as a distinct artistic force. Music critics have highlighted this moment as a turning point, signaling Jin's transition from BTS member going solo to global solo artist with long-term impact. Fans, known worldwide as ARMY, played a crucial role in this achievement. From organized streaming projects to social media campaigns, their dedication amplified Jin's visibility throughout the year. However, Billboard analysts emphasize that fan support alone is not enough to secure year-end chart placements. Strong digital performance, international reach, and consistent listener engagement are equally vital. Jin's ability to meet all these criteria underscores the broad appeal of his music. Beyond the numbers, Jin's Billboard recognition carries symbolic weight. It reflects the evolving landscape of K-pop, where individual members can successfully build solo careers without losing their global relevance. Jin's success also reinforces BTS's legacy as a group that produces artists capable of standing strong on their own, even during periods of individual focus. As the music world looks ahead to 2026, expectations for Jin are higher than ever. With his name now firmly etched into Billboard's 2025 year-end charts, Jin has not only closed the year on a high note, but also opened a new chapter in his career, one defined by artistic confidence, global recognition, and enduring influence. The significance of Jin's Billboard year-end recognition becomes even clearer when viewed through the broader context of the global music industry in 2025. This was a year dominated by intense competition, with Western pop heavyweights, rising Latin artists, and viral newcomers all battling for visibility on the same charts. In that environment, Jin's ability to remain present across multiple Billboard rankings speaks to a rare balance between strong fandom power and genuine cross-market appeal. His music did not remain confined to one region or demographic. Instead, it traveled fluidly across borders, playlists, and cultural spaces. Music industry insiders have also noted that Jin's success came without excessive promotional saturation. Rather than relying on non-stop media appearances, Jin adopted a more selective and refined promotional strategy. Carefully chosen interviews, emotionally resonant performances, and thoughtfully crafted visuals helped position him as an artist focused on substance rather than noise. This restraint created anticipation around each appearance, making every new performance or update feel meaningful to audiences. Critics have praised Jin's vocal delivery throughout his solo work in 2025, highlighting his ability to convey vulnerability without sacrificing technical control. His tone, often described as warm and comforting, became a defining characteristic that set him apart from other soloists competing on the same charts. This emotional clarity played a major role in sustaining listener interest over time, a crucial factor in securing a spot on Billboard's year-end lists. Jin's Billboard achievements also sparked wider conversations about longevity in K-pop solo careers. Historically, many idol solo projects have seen brief chart bursts, followed by rapid declines. Jin's case challenges that pattern. His continued presence throughout the year suggests that listeners return to his music repeatedly, not just during release weeks, but long after initial promotions ended. This kind of listening behavior is precisely what Billboard's annual rankings are designed to capture. Social media trends further amplified the impact of Jin's chart success. Fan reactions, critical reviews, and viral clips of his performances circulated widely, often accompanied by discussions about his artistic growth since earlier solo releases. These conversations helped introduce Jin to new listeners who may not have followed BTS closely, expanding his reach beyond the traditional K-pop audience. From a legacy standpoint, Jin's strong showing on the Billboard year-end charts reinforces the idea that BTS members can thrive individually while still strengthening the group's global reputation. Rather than competing against one another, each member's success adds another layer to BTS's influence as a collective. Jin's achievements in particular highlight the value of emotional storytelling in an industry increasingly driven by speed and trends. As the year concludes, Jin stands not just as a charting artist, but as a symbol of artistic endurance. His presence on Billboard's 2025 year-end charts represents months of consistent listening, global engagement, and emotional connection with audiences worldwide. With growing anticipation surrounding his future projects, Jin's end-of-year spotlight feels less like a conclusion and more like a powerful preview of what lies ahead in the next phase of his solo journey. As discussions around the Billboard year-end charts continued, Jin's name repeatedly surfaced not only in fan communities, but also in professional music analysis circles. Analysts highlighted that his success represents a broader shift in how global audiences consume K-pop solo music. Rather than focusing solely on performance-driven tracks, listeners increasingly gravitated toward emotionally grounded songs, an area where Jin has consistently excelled. His 2025 releases resonated as personal narratives rather than manufactured hits, allowing his music to age well throughout the year. In several post-year-end chart commentaries, industry experts pointed out that Jin's presence reflected strong catalog longevity. His songs continued to gain streams months after release, often re-entering playlists during seasonal moments such as late nights, long-distance travel, and reflective year-end periods. This steady rediscovery cycle helped maintain his chart metrics over time, reinforcing why his ranking held firm when Billboard finalized its annual data. Another factor that strengthened Jin's year-end standing was his connection with fans during offline and online events. Whether through intimate fan meetings or heartfelt messages shared across platforms, Jin maintained a sense of closeness that translated directly into sustained engagement. Fans did not just stream his music out of loyalty, many expressed that his songs became emotional anchors during significant moments of their year. This deep emotional attachment is increasingly recognized as a key driver behind long-term chart performance. Jin's Billboard recognition also sparked renewed interest in his artistic direction moving forward. Speculation began circulating about how he might expand his sound while maintaining the emotional sincerity that defined his 2025 success. Music critics suggested that Jin now occupies a unique space, one where he can experiment musically without losing the core audience that values his storytelling. This flexibility positions him well for future releases, whether they lean toward acoustic intimacy or broader pop arrangements. Within the global K-pop conversation, Jin's achievements were often framed as a reassurance that authenticity still matters in an era dominated by viral hooks and algorithm-driven trends. His ability to stand out on Billboard's year-end charts without aggressive trend chasing challenged assumptions about what it takes to succeed internationally. Instead, Jin's case demonstrated that emotional clarity, vocal consistency, and trust in one's artistic identity can be just as powerful. As 2025 officially closed, Jin's year-end spotlight became a defining narrative of the season. His Billboard recognition did not feel like a fleeting headline, but rather the culmination of a year-long journey marked by growth, patience, and artistic confidence. With global audiences now paying closer attention to his next move, Jin enters the new year not merely as a celebrated idol, but as a respected solo artist whose influence continues to deepen well beyond the charts. In the weeks following the release of the Billboard year-end rankings, Jin's achievement continued to ripple through the industry in subtle but meaningful ways. Music commentators began referencing his 2025 performance as a benchmark for future solo releases from idol-turned-soloists, noting how his trajectory favored steady growth over explosive but short-lived peaks. Rather than dominating headlines for a brief moment, Jin's presence unfolded gradually, allowing audiences to form a lasting relationship with his music across the year. What stood out most to critics was how naturally Jin's work fit into everyday listening habits. His songs were frequently described as return tracks, music people come back to during quiet evenings, moments of reflection, or emotional transitions. This kind of listening behavior, often overlooked in fast-moving pop cycles, proved to be one of Jin's greatest strengths. It ensured that his songs remained relevant long after their initial release windows, quietly accumulating streams and global engagement. Within the fan community, Jin's Billboard recognition also sparked a wave of reflection. Many fans shared personal stories about how his music accompanied them through difficult periods in 2025, turning the chart achievement into something deeply personal rather than purely statistical. Online discussions shifted from numbers to meaning, with listeners emphasizing how Jin's voice and lyrics provided comfort and reassurance in uncertain times. This deep emotional resonance further solidified his image as an artist whose value extends beyond rankings. From a business perspective, industry insiders observed that Jin's sustained performance could influence how labels approach future solo projects. His success suggested that investing in long-term artistic development rather than immediate viral impact can yield stronger results on annual charts. Jin's case became an example of how patience, consistent quality, and trust in one's artistic identity can be just as powerful. As 2025 officially closed, Jin's year-end spotlight became a defining narrative of the season. His Billboard recognition did not feel like a fleeting headline, but rather the culmination of a year-long journey marked by growth, patience, and artistic confidence. With global audiences now paying closer attention to his next move, Jin enters the new year not merely as a celebrated idol, but as a respected solo artist whose influence continues to deepen well beyond the charts. In the weeks following the release of the Billboard year-end rankings, Jin's achievement continued to ripple through the industry in subtle but meaningful ways. Music commentators began referencing his 2025 performance as a benchmark for future solo releases from idol-turned-soloists, noting how his trajectory favored steady growth over explosive but short-lived peaks. Rather than dominating headlines for a brief moment, Jin's presence unfolded gradually, allowing audiences to form a lasting relationship with his music across the year. What stood out most to critics was how naturally Jin's work fit into everyday listening habits. His songs were frequently described as return tracks, music people come back to during quiet evenings, moments of reflection, or emotional transitions. This kind of listening behavior, often overlooked in fast-moving pop cycles, proved to be one of Jin's greatest strengths. It ensured that his songs remained relevant long after their initial release windows, quietly accumulating streams and global engagement. Within the fan community, Jin's Billboard recognition also sparked a wave of reflection. Many fans shared personal stories about how his music accompanied them through difficult periods in 2025, turning the chart achievement into something deeply personal rather than purely statistical. Online discussions shifted from numbers to meaning, with listeners emphasizing how Jin's voice and lyrics provided comfort and reassurance in uncertain times. This deep emotional resonance further solidified his image as an artist whose value extends beyond rankings. From a business perspective, industry insiders observed that Jin's sustained performance could influence how labels approach future solo projects. His success suggested that investing in long-term artistic development rather than immediate viral impact can yield stronger results on annual charts. Jin's case became an example of how patience, consistent quality, and trust in one's artistic identity can be just as powerful. As 2025 officially closed, Jin's year-end spotlight became a defining narrative of the season. His Billboard recognition did not feel like a fleeting headline, but rather the culmination of a year-long journey marked by growth, patience, and artistic confidence. With global audiences now paying closer attention to his next move, Jin enters the new year not merely as a celebrated idol, but as a respected solo artist whose influence continues to deepen well beyond the charts.